Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys checking today's video out and spending some time with me. I always appreciate that. Today I want to do a follow-up on several videos I've done this week talking about the negative effects of forward-facing sonar and how some people, they're just too far gone. You're never going to get them back on this topic. And I want to really address that and sort of talk about the bigger picture as far as a little bit about human behavior on this and perception and misinformation. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, one quick thing before we get started, I want to share with you a bait that's been working really good for the last couple of weeks here in the Ozarks. You might want to try because this is going to be really good through the month of January. And that's this megabass nanahan, this X nanahan plus 2. There's two different versions. This is the deeper diving one here. Finesse jerkbait, guys. This is one of the top jerkbaits you'll ever use in the month of December and January. So I'll put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description if you guys would like to pick up one of these. Just, guys, throw it on 6-pound test line, fish it on main lake points in December and January, and you guys will definitely catch some fish, especially if you have a lake that's got a lot of spotted bass on it. It's really good. So give that a try. Okay, here is the deal, what we're going to talk about here. I have realized on this whole battle that we're in the middle of with forward-facing sonar that you've got probably 80% of the public that is against it. They're adamantly against the technology because they understand the reality of the situation and what's doing to the sport on a lot of different levels, about 80%. And then you got maybe 80% in that range. I'd put it close to 80. Then you've got maybe 5% of the people out there that they don't care one way or the other. It's like, you know, fine if you want to use it, fine if you don't want to use it. And then you got probably another 5% of the people out there that are persuadable, and they listen to like a lot of the stuff that I've been trying to educate the public on regarding this, and they've changed their minds. I hear a lot of people message me and comment. They say, Randy, I thought you were full of it until I started listening to you, and then I'm on your side now. And then you have 10% of the people out there that they're not reachable with this. It reminds me a lot about politics. You have some people in politics that they are so far down a rabbit hole of misinformation that you can present them facts and evidence over and over again, and they still deny the reality of it. You tell them that the sun's out, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's that bright thing in the sky is the sun, and they'll say, no, that's the moon. Some people, and that's the way it is with forward-facing sonar, is you have 10% of the people out there that there's nothing that you can do to convince them otherwise because they don't want to hear it, because they have a worldview that they do not want to have challenged with this, because most of them, that they can't catch us without it. They're connected fully by their umbilical cord with it. Now, the thing about this is when you have, there's two different elements here. Fundamentally, if you have a perception of fishing to where your fishing is where you go out, you put your boat in the water, and you rely and you must turn your electronic unit on to show you where the fish are at. You don't have the ability to go locate those fish and actually fish to find fish. If you have been sucked into the point that 10% of the population of the bass fishing public is in this country, where they have to turn that unit on and they have to be shown by the unit, there's a bass, cast over there to that bass, and the unit's gonna show me what that bass is doing, that I can look down on that screen and tell me everything I need to know about it. That's not fishing. Guys, that is not fishing whatsoever. That is a insult to the fish. It's an insult to the sport. It's an insult to yourself for even attempting to try to catch fish like that. So from that standpoint, you know, there's this segment, like I said, that 10% segment out there that there's nothing that you can do to convince them otherwise. It's like you can lecture them and talk to them over and over again, and you can have 80% of the public, you know, verify the fact that this is not good for the sport, and you can just present evidence and facts over and over and over again, and it doesn't make any difference. It's a wasted cause. They're going to believe what they want to believe, and they're going to call anyone that disagrees with them a clueless idiot that's washed up grandpa over the hill. That's just the way they are. This is what it reminds me of here. I'm going to give you guys a good analogy of it about how some people, you just can't reach them because their minds don't have the ability to wrap around it. About probably 40 years ago in Joplin, Missouri, when I was a lot younger living there was right sort of in the middle of the town there was this piece of property right along one of the main streets there that had probably about a 3-acre lake on it that was spring fed. And this thing had been there for well over 100 years. And on this spring-fed lake, it was surrounded by these old growth oak trees and walnut trees. So there was probably about 20 walnut trees and oak trees that, guys, they were big around as your car hood. You know, every one of them was over 200 years old. And this was the most incredible park-like setting you've ever seen. You've got this beautiful clear water 2-acre pond, you know, landscaped perfectly, majestic old growth trees on it everywhere. And it was loved by everybody. Everybody talked about it all the time about how beautiful this place was. So anyway, some dickmonger developer came in there, bought that piece of property up and wanted to put a grocery store on it. And what he was proposing to do was to drain the lake, cut down all those trees, pave it over, and put a stupid little small grocery store on it. It went to it had to go, basically to be approved, and there was a public hearing on it. And I went to this public hearing a lot of people, everybody was pissed that this developer wanted to do this. Everybody was making great points about this. And I was saying that it's like the value of this piece of property with the spring-fed pond on it and the old growth trees that were here when the Native Americans there was Native Americans probably playing underneath this thing 200 years ago. The value, the aesthetic value of this piece of property is priceless. There's not another piece of property in it. It's like for you to go in here, drain this thing and bulldoze down those trees to put in a stupid shopping center is the most blatant example of insanity and greed and just ignorance that man can even, come up with. And of course, development always wins. They granted this weenie the rights to build this, supermarket there. So he goes in there, cuts down the 200-year-old oak trees and walnut trees all over the place, drains the spring-fed pond that was full of bass, fills it in, paves it over, and builds this stupid Dillon's supermarkets there that went out of business like 5 years after it got put in there. Now, the point of what I'm talking about, there's some people that are horrified. The majority of the people get it. They're horrified that somebody would take an area that has such value and priceless, just a priceless value on it because it's so unique and it's so old and it's so ancient, to bulldoze it down to put in a stupid supermarket. Most people are horrified, but there's 5 or 10% of the people out there that say, oh, that's great, that's progress, we need a supermarket here, no big deal, there's plenty of land everywhere. Those are the same type of people, guys, that you cannot reach. You can't get into their mind and try to convince and put logic and reason and critical thinking skills and foresight for the future. That's the problem we have with forward-facing sonar right now, is you've got 10% of the people out there that are a vocal minority, along with the tournament organizations and the electronic companies, that simply do not have the mental capacity to grasp what is going on with this. And therefore, they villainize and they deny and they make fun of and they try to just do everything they can to keep the status quo that it is right now, on the line and the trajectory that we're finding ourselves on. So anyway, it's like I said, it's all an interesting study in human behavior as far as how misinformation and worldviews and belief systems get in the way of doing the right thing. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys out there. I realize, I see it all the time in my comments, that it doesn't matter how many points you make and the good points that you make. There's some people out there that you just can't reach. And my advice is don't even waste your time, because it's not, it's just like my buddy says, it's like wrestling a greased pig with these people. It's like, nobody wins and you're both just going to get dirty doing it. So you just have to just, forget about it and go on. So anyway, guys, hope you're all well. We'll talk later.